Hi friend, have you ever spent way too long searching through Canva to find one of those graphics that you know you made, but you're just not able to find it? If your social media graphics feel scattered, your branding inconsistent, and your storage non-existent, you're not alone, friend, because I've heard this one before. The good news is Canva can actually transform that chaos into a streamlined, stress-free social media system that's easy for you and your team or your future team to maintain. In today's episode, we're going to cover exactly the pieces that you need to set up. The first is to create and name your project folders clearly. I'm sure you've heard me say this before. I think we covered it when we talked about Google folders and setting up your Google Drive. But this is the same thing in Canva. It allows you to create folders inside of Canva so you can easily organize your marketing content, your promotional, if you have courses, any graphics that you set up inside of Canva, you can actually create those folders so that they're easy for you to find things in the future. And you can start by creating your dedicated folders that you want. So how do you want to actually organize it for you? This is completely, again, like with everything, we all think differently. Sometimes we need to have all kinds of folders and they're buried underneath each other, or you need to have just one folder that covers everything. But whatever works, and you have to have broad ranges. Maybe I should say that, just not one folder with everything in it, because then you're not accomplishing anything different. But it can be based on your different campaigns, maybe your content type, or by year and month particularly is how I like to do it, by marketing and then the year and then the month in which the product or the information is kept in there. When you clearly structure your folders, that saves you significant time and frustration by allowing you and your team or content VA to quickly locate, reuse, or repurpose any of that existing graphics in there. Plus, with structured folders, simplifying that onboarding process when you do want to bring on a new team member is so much easier for you. Here's some ideas on the folders that you can have. You can create a folder for the different content types. I mentioned that before. So like quotes, promotions, testimonials, things that you would for sure want to reuse in your social media. You want to organize your folders by campaign. So if you run different campaigns for social media graphics, like promotion of a course that you have or something that you're going to be selling, you can organize it that way, and you can organize it by your date. So the year, the month, or the year in the platform. Example, your Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, whatever it is that you have in there, and you can easily track and then find those graphics to be used later on. And why would this be important for you? Well, you want to be able to quickly locate content to reuse it or repurpose it so that you can actually see all the different collateral that you have in your business. And it saves significant time by avoiding that endless scrolling through designs. With clearly structured folders, it makes onboarding a new team member so much more simple and intuitive for you. Number 2 is to utilize Canva's brand kit because it is amazing. The brand kit is essential to keep all your branding assets centralized and easily accessible to you and anybody else that's accessing your Canva. You can sort your basics like your logo, your brand colors, and your fonts. But in addition to that, you can add in your brand voice, photos, graphics, and of course, any icons that are part of your marketing. By keeping it in that brand kit, that means that you always have that within range when you're creating or updating your graphics. Doing this ensures your branding stays consistent across all your platforms, reducing confusion and speeding up the creation process. And a centralized brand kit also provides clarity and saves time for your content VA when they step into the role of taking over those different tasks. But why is this actually important? Because your business remains consistent across all your platforms, you avoid confusion about brand standards among your team, and it streamlines the creation and the updating process by having everything in one location. Number 3 is to set up and use consistent templates. This is something I started doing number 1 when I started using Canva. At the time, I'd create the social media graphic and then just duplicate that anytime I wanted to use that particular template. But when you create reusable templates for your social media posts, it significantly simplifies that graphic design process and decision-making process, in my opinion, because you're not starting from scratch. You have something that's already started, and you might not even end up with it looking exactly like that, but at least you have somewhere to start with and you're not having to build from a blank screen. Label each template clearly by the type of post or the content theme and include your essential branding elements so you're ready to use them at any time. Your templates eliminate the repetitive and time-consuming tasks of designing graphics from scratch, and it ensures consistent quality, and that allows you and your VA to quickly refresh existing content whenever needed. So this is what I mean by repurposing. If you've had a graphic that you've used in the past in Canva, you can pull that up and just switch out a few colors or move things around, and it becomes a completely different image. Or potentially you leave the graphics the same or the fonts the same, because obviously they're your brand font, and you just switch out the picture or the graphic that's behind it or the image that's behind that particular social media post. I hope that makes sense. But why is it important to be able to have templates? Let's just cover that real quick. It saves time and reduces that repetitive design work. It ensures consistency and quality in every social media graphic, and it allows for easy and quick updates when refreshing existing content. Number 4 is to integrate Canva with your Google Drive so you have that seamless storage and backup. Maybe you prefer to keep all your graphics stored in Google Drive. Maybe not all of your team has access to Canva, but they need to have access to those different graphics. Well, that's perfect because you can integrate Canva with your Google Drive, and it's easy to bring in your files and it's easy to save files out of Canva. But why is that important to you? Because it reduces the risk of losing your valuable content, and it provides easy access and the ability to share that outside of Canva for team members that may not have access to your Canva account. Number 5 is to use Canva to create a content calendar and schedule your posts. If you don't want to go into natively schedule those into the different social media platforms and you don't have a social media scheduler, you can use Canva for it. You can even just use it as a content planner if you prefer, but you can go ahead and schedule all your different posts out through Canva and it will post for you into those different platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. And that feature provides that visual clarity and ensures that you're consistently posting, and it prevents those content gaps because you can see your content calendar right inside of Canva. And it eliminates that need for an additional scheduling tool if you don't have the bandwidth or resources financially to be able to purchase something separate outside of Canva. And it streamlines that social media workflow. Why it's important is because it simplifies your content management and ensures your consistent posting. It provides visual clarity and it helps prevent gaps or overlaps in your content schedule. And it saves valuable time by reducing the need for additional scheduling tools. And here's just one quick little bonus. You can streamline your communications and your client approval. One of Canva's convenient features, it has built-in commenting and sharing right in the system. You can effortlessly communicate with your content VA about the design changes or questions you have directly in Canva. And you can quickly share designs with your clients for review and approval right outside of Canva by just creating a link and sharing it with them. This clear communication will streamline the feedback, accelerate revisions, and simplify that client approval process for you. But why would that be important? Because it improves clarity and reduces communication back and forth. And we know how frustrating back and forth with your communication can be. And it speeds up the approval and revision process. It provides a simple professional method for your client feedback. Okay, friends, it's time to wrap this up. So when you're limited on time, never start from scratch. Organize your Canva account clearly to leverage existing designs efficiently. Ask yourself, where are you starting fresh when you could simply update something you already have? That's a great idea when you're feeling extremely overwhelmed and you have too many things to do. This is a great way to remain consistent without, again, building something from scratch. This is where it's great to have yourself with that image library and your caption library so that you can take one image and a different caption and put them together, and now you have a new, completely different social media post. When you organize your Canva account clearly, your content VA or your future team members can easily step into the system, keeping your content creation stress-free, organized, and efficient. Thank you, friends, so much for listening. I appreciate you, and I hope you make it a wonderful week.
Yay! Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you found this episode valuable and learned some actionable tips that you can implement in your business so that you can feel accomplished and less stressed. If you enjoyed this show, please take a quick minute to share this with your business bestie, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps me reach more business owners just like you. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, please reach out to me on my website. I've created a form just for you. Remember, with the right system and mindset, you can achieve the success your heart desires. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to chatting with you next time. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And don't forget, let's grow, friends.